4 minutes after 11 o'clock, and this is Jam 7. I'm going to be holding down on voices. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be bringing you some of the budget sitting. At present, Samuel Duggins, the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, Marine Resources, Cooperatives, Small Business, Entrepreneurship, Sports, and Creative Economy is speaking. So we're going to get a quick word from our sponsors, and then we're going to come back and let you hear Mr. Duggins expound on his portfolios.
Shopping with TDC just got much easier. Here's how. Log on to shoptdcgroup.com. Shop at your convenience at any time, from anywhere, with your smartphone, tablet, or computer. With our safe and secure payment checkout, you choose the option to pick up in-store or have your goods delivered right to your door. It's that easy. Shop tdcgroup.com, your one-stop online store.
Shop anywhere, shop anytime, same quality you love. Now online. Shop
www.shoptdcgroup.com.
I want this and this. Oh, can I have?
Sure, we have an extra $600 from Flo. You can have everything you want.
Get it all with the gift of a free $600 MasterCard cash card. 2 free smartphones and free installation when you bundle Flow Mobile and Internet. That's the gift of free times 3. Get it all this Christmas at Flow. Bundle in store or online at discoverflow.co today.
Merry Christmas!
Feel the magic happening.
Campari.
Taste. Something incredible happens when Campari is mixed just right. Like Campari and orange juice poured over ice. Taste it. Try it tonight. Bitter, sweeter, better. Campari. Must be 18 years and older. Drink responsibly.
So we're going to take you to Samuel Duggins's presentation, which is in progress.
Madam Deputy Speaker, because we recognize that across crop, across fisheries, and other sectors, climate change is real, and the vulnerabilities are real, and we need to protect our farmers. Water is life. That's right. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, every drop counts. Water is life and every drop counts. Madam Deputy Speaker, as we talk about protected
Okay, bear with us. The internet is buffering at the moment, so the feed from YouTube is buffering at the moment. We're just waiting it to resume. So through no fault of our own, we're having a little buffering issue. So I am assuming, here we go.
One of our flagship projects, ongoing, Minister of Agriculture in Anguilla, who said, boy, we saw agriculture in Anguilla, who said, boy, we saw what you guys were doing with the greenhouses, and we're now taking that over to Anguilla. And I said, but sure, we are all partners in this. We are one region. And that has been a revolution for us across the region, our greenhouse villages that are underway and looking to be set for 2025. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, you have all this work that is going on in terms of crop production. We are also, Madam Deputy Speaker, looking at other areas of agriculture. And I want to touch on this area of agriculture as indicated another topic again, and that is the hot topic of pepper. The hot topic of pepper. Because, Madam Deputy Speaker, a few weeks ago, we launched our collaboration with Tabasco, and a revolutionary project in and of itself. And we've heard different people weigh in on the debate on it. And while most of our farmers are happy to have a sure market for our product, because Tabasco has said, we will take every pepper of standard from St. Kitts and Nevis, every single one. We will take every single pepper of standard from St. Kitts and Nevis. So that's a sure market. You grow peppers, you know, once you meet the standard, there's a market for you. Tabasco takes it. We've heard the debates, but some people said, oh, we're taking people back to the plantation and we're doing. Now, let me ask you this. Was not these same plantations here that drove the development in Europe? No. Why would you not want to work on driving the development of something that you own? This is now us doing it for us.
Simple question.
This is now us driving that development for us. If we could build Europe, why can't we build St. Kitts and Nevis? Offer the same lands. Offer the same lands. So I don't understand the narrative.
We've been sending people to Canada year after year to work on their plantations.
On their plantations. Why can't we build ours right here? On their farms. But why can't we build ours right here? And we own it. And the money comes right here. To the farmers right here. And empower and drive development and progress right here. That is what this is about. So I don't know. If we have a product that built Europe, I believe the product is good enough to build St. Kitts and Nevis into an empire that it needs to be. Power in progress. That's what we're talking about. Madam Deputy Speaker, there's so much in agriculture that we could talk about. We could talk about all day, but I don't have all day on agriculture. Madam Deputy Speaker, I want to really talk about one of the last areas for me regarding the Ministry of Agriculture. In our last budget, the medicinal cannabis industry was transferred into agriculture, you remember. And we've been putting every effort forward to ensure that this industry is a thriving one. Madam Deputy Speaker, we recognize the potential that this industry has as a part of the agricultural development. And we've gone far and wide to look for the support and the partnerships to ensure that this industry can thrive. We recognize that we are not one of the earlier ones to the gate, but we also recognize there's a space for us in the industry. And one of our partnerships has been with Southern University. Now, Southern University has done a tremendous scope of research in the area of cannabis. And we have developed a partnership with this university that has said to us, whatever we have learned thus far, we are willing to share with you so that you don't have to go and relearn it. And so it is training, it is certification, it is product development, because one of the things I want to say as well, when we hear about cannabis, we generally go to one area of it in our minds, and that is recreational smoking. But cannabis is far more viable than just that. Southern has developed toothpaste from cannabis. topical creams from cannabis to help people with seizures, tinctures that help people with different ailments. You have a pain, they got a topical that could help relieve your pain. They got tincture that could stop you from having seizures. They have some for people with anxiety that could calm you down, and no smoking involved. And Southern is saying, all of this research, all of this development, we are willing to walk you through that so that you don't have to go and relearn everything yourself. And we now have a board that is driving that forward, and I see one of the board members here, Mr. Samande Reed, Ras Aya, a board member here in Ras Aya. And we have a board that takes into account all the various players. Trade, customs, Rastafari community, other religious sectors, agriculture, small businesses. And so we have different players in the room, finance, that all make these decisions and drive the industry forward. And Ras, when are we looking to get this out? All right then, 2025. First set of licenses should be issued as indicated by the Cannabis Board. 2025. We're driving this country forward, powering progress in St. Kitts and Nevis. And Madam Deputy Speaker, I think in 2025 we'll see quite a bit of the benefits that could be harnessed by the cannabis industry. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, I've been here for some time on agriculture, but I want to say that I wish to speak on a few other matters as well. And I think I've given a good overview of some of the progress that we've made in agriculture. While there's so much more to speak on, I think I've given a good overview of that area. But I want to say that this government certainly stands committed to restoring the agriculture and fisheries glory days of St. Kitts and Nevis, Madam Speaker. And we want to ensure that through this sector there's abundance, there's opportunities, and that we instill a national pride in our people through the development of agriculture. That is our goal for agriculture. It should be an element of national pride. People should be proud, like myself and the clerk, to say, I'm a farmer. Isn't it?
I just farm too, you know, but
We're going to sing a song on that. We're going to sing a song on that.
Honorable Member, continue. Your time is going.
Yes. Madam Deputy Speaker, let me just say something about our fisheries as I move forward now. We have done significant work across the fisheries sector in 2024. Madam Deputy Speaker, since being in office, the investment in fisheries has seen tremendous progress. To the point where, in our last review, the fisheries sector has earned its highest returns ever, over $15 million, the fisheries sector. So somewhere out there, fisher folk would have been sharing their spoils of $15 million federally. And we are happy for this, Madam Deputy Speaker. Yes, we are happy for that, Madam Deputy Speaker. And this comes with a lot of hard work. We had to develop the fisheries complexes to be able to sustain this kind of activity. Repair the ice machines. I know for us in Old Road, the ice machine would have been down for some 3 years. And once we got back in office, first order of business, within a year, the ice machine was repaired and up and running. And the fisher folk are telling you, dear, boy, now we could catch the fish again. And if you've seen the fishing tournaments from Old Road, we've now dubbed it the Big Fish Tournament. Because every year, There's a fish that comes in over 600 pounds every year. Every year, over 600 pounds. The big fish tournament. Every year. But this is what we are doing to drive these industries, Madam Deputy Speaker. And for us, we are now looking at Date. We've done work at Bassia Fisheries Complex, and we want to ensure that we continue to develop this sector even more. We have already reached the highest returns ever. We want to take it even further. We power in progress, Sankis and Nevis, Madam Deputy Speaker. Because, Madam Deputy Speaker, as you can see, the reopening of the Old Road Fisheries Depot is not just about infrastructure for us, Madam Deputy Speaker, but it's a clear and resounding message of this government's commitment to coastal communities and the livelihoods that these communities represent. So from Old Road to Godwin, to Date Bay, to Sandy Point, these coastal communities drive this fishing sector drive livelihoods to all these communities. Feed families, empower households, and we ensure that we are investing in that, Madam Deputy Speaker. Now, I want to move on, Madam Deputy Speaker, to another area, which is the area of small business, Madam Deputy Speaker. Because as the Minister of Small Business, I want to shed light as to the good work that has been done thus far, but also to speak about the work that we are endeavoring to do in 2025. And for me, I want to start by reaffirming this government's unwavering commitment. Our commitment to empowering what is certainly the heartbeat of our economy. The small businesses, the entrepreneurs, and the cooperatives, Madam Deputy Speaker. You see, Madam Deputy Speaker, in 2024, we went on an aggressive mission to develop the small business sector. And to date, almost 100 small businesses would have benefited from concessions. So these small businesses would have been beneficiaries of different type of concessions to drive their business forward. We heard about the global inflation. The mover of the bill spoke to that in depth. But we could not leave our small businesses out there hanging, Madam Deputy Speaker. We had to ensure that we do something to help small businesses. And that is why we ensured that these small businesses had at least some relief at the ports in terms of concessions to drive their business activities. But we didn't stop there. That's one part. Madam Deputy Speaker, almost 300 small businesses would have attended or benefited from our workshops. We've had over 8 transformative workshops throughout the year, almost one a month, where they learn different processes, best practices in terms of empowering a small business, Madam Deputy Speaker. Almost 300 small businesses today. Yes, we are empowering the small business sector. And tonight I want to invite everybody to the the agri-market, down at the public market, where you'll see these same small businesses down there at the night market. But you are too. You are too. Yes. But this is what we are doing, empowering small businesses. So as we go to the night market this evening, we're going to see these small businesses at work. Madam Deputy Speaker, we also made sure that we took small business into the communities, because not everybody has the confidence or the time to sometimes come out to these meetings. And so we've gone into various communities and have had these discussions with small businesses across the country. We've gone around the island and made sure that we had these discussions with small businesses around the country. And we are seeing now the small business sector starting to really move in leaps and bounds, and we are happy for that. As the member from Nevis 11 said, he smiles, and I smile too. You like that, and I like it too. You remember, it was Calypso Reggie that had that song. I like that. Yes. But, Madam Deputy Speaker, we have also done a number of collaborations with organizations that has helped to drive the small business sector over the last year. And by collaborating with global organizations such as the CDB and ECLAC, we have not only expanded our training programs, Madam Deputy Speaker, but we secured over $145,000 in revenue for the reinvestment into the MSME sector. And so, Madam Deputy Speaker, we recognize that our small businesses are on the rise. There's a lot of work to do in getting over the inflation. There's still some time and work, but we are on the rise, Madam Deputy Speaker. And Madam Deputy Speaker, I want to talk within that space about some of the programs that we've also been doing to empower our entrepreneurs even further. Because within the Ministry of Small Business, we have Create TV. And what we've been using Create TV to do is amplify the success of our small businesses. And so we go, we interview small businesses, we develop programs that showcase small businesses in their true potential and their true light, and put that out for the public so that the public understands the hard work that goes into running a small business. Because it's not easy. It's not easy, Madam Deputy Speaker. I can tell you, small business ownership is challenging. And that is why we are doing what we can to ensure that we support and bolster that sector and make sure that they can not just survive, but small businesses should thrive in St. Kitts and Nevis, because we power in progress in SKN. Ain't it, PM? That's right. That's right. But, Madam Deputy Speaker, within the ministry is also the Ministry of Cooperatives. You know, and the cooperative movement is a pillar for economic resilience, Madam Speaker, undoubtedly. And in 2025, we aim to increase cooperative membership in St. Kitts and Nevis by 10%. And what was interesting is that the USVI has indicated that they wish to come to St. Kitts to learn from our cooperative movement. And again, I must also commend the member for Nevis 10 for his work in cooperative development. Now, this is a federal effort, Madam Deputy Speaker. It is a federal effort. Maybe in the past, it never used to be. And they say, somebody said St. Kitts and Nevis is divided by 2 miles of water. I say St. Kitts and Nevis is connected by 2 miles of water. And so that is what it is. It is a connected, yes, it's a federal effort, Madam Deputy Speaker. And we want to ensure we drive that across the federation. It's not just about St. Kitts. But, Madam Speaker, this is what it is about. Powering progress. Powering progress. And as you can see, for our small business and cooperative sector, our agenda for 2025 is a bold one, a visionary one, and one rooted in the belief that every single entrepreneur and every cooperative member and every small business has the potential to transform this nation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and we will power that progress. Madam Deputy Speaker.
Honourable Member, my apologies. You have half an hour remaining.
Thank you. I come in now. I come in now. No, we get in there. But let me move on to the creative economy, Madam Deputy Speaker. creative economy. Madam Deputy Speaker, our creative economy right now in St. Kitts and Nevis is being looked at across the region as a shining example. We've had Jamaicans, Trinidadians, Guyanese, even Canadians looking at the work that we are doing here and saying, wow, for a small country like St. Kitts and Nevis, you guys are doing remarkable work. Not just going well, there's people saying, they're saying it weller than ever. Yeah, that is what they're saying. And this year we hosted our Creative Arts Convention that we dubbed the Creative Power Arts Convention. And Madam Deputy Speaker, we had over 200 plus participants. Some people flew in from St. Lucia and different countries to be a part of it in terms of attending it. And we had facilitators from Canada, from all over the world. Facilitators from all over the world. And you know what was, for me, most impressive and surprising to me? The Jamaicans, the Canadians, they all said, this does not happen in our country. This has never been done in our country. And so, for what we did, it was pretty much a regional first. And we've seen the success. We've seen our very own De Jour, who since that Creative Arts Convention has gone on to Chicago to do work with Cosine. Yeah. Now, Cosine is one of America's top producers. He has produced for John Legend, Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, you name it. He has produced for the top of the top. And now, I understand, De Jour is on Cosine's next single. That deserves a wow. That deserves a wow. De Jour is on Cosine's next single. And that started from the work at the Creative Arts Convention here in St. Kitts in September. This is what we are doing, power in progress, exporting talent. Miami Carnival 2024. We had over 30 young creatives in Miami performing across different events. Whether it was Grandmaster's Band, Collision Band, Terror, DJ Terror, or so many other names were out there. Exporting talent, developing and exporting talent. That is the status of our creative industry. Exporting our creative talent. Never before has this been done to this kind of level. Exporting creative talent. And that is the strength of our creative industry at this point. It is not just, some people look at the creative industry as just entertainment. And we've heard some comments, Madam Deputy Speaker, about the creative industry and dancing, and somebody's talking about walk up. This is about driving potential, creating livelihoods. You think De Jour does not take his craft seriously and see that as a viable means of him providing for his family? You think year after year, Mr. Mention or Mr. World, for how much years, 30 plus years they're on the road, think this is just a frivolous thing for them? It is the way they survive. This is their livelihood. This is them tapping into their ultimate potential and ensuring that they could be a viable member of our economy and society. It's not just about walk up and dance. Yes, people have a good time around entertainment. It's about much more than that, Madam Speaker. We're empowering families here. we're building economic viability here. Let us look at our very own Byron Messiah. Byron Messiah has gone on to have global success. The last time I checked, Byron Messiah was making 50,000 US dollars a show. That's not just song and dance. That's about economic stability. Imagine if we create another 100 Byron Messiahs here. Pyramid power in progress, man. Eh? But beyond just that part of the creative economy, Madam Deputy Speaker, we have also been investing in other parts of the creative economy, particularly part of cultural heritage, Madam Deputy Speaker. Because for us, we cannot just keep moving forward without remembering and honoring the past. And so we have invested significantly in ensuring that we preserve our cultural heritage. Madam Deputy Speaker, every year I myself go out and showcase in Carnival some part of our cultural heritage. And I see the Honorable Member for Nevis 10, he does the same. Last year I was on the Makajumbi and he was in the string band. And this is what we're talking about, appreciating the culture and the past. And Madam Deputy Speaker, for this year we have had hundreds of young persons learning from clowns, learning Makajumbi, learning string band, learning African drumming, learning mummies, learning the actors, preserving our culture, Madam Deputy Speaker. But we've also been teaching people the art of broom making, how to construct old stone walls. These are the things that we are doing because we can't lose these trades and these crafts. I mean, when you go to Nevis and you see some of the stone walls they build over there, it's amazing to see modern stone walls going up. And we're ensuring that we preserve these across the Federation. And this is part of what we do in the creative economy, to make sure that we don't lose not our tangible nor intangible cultural heritage. And we use that as a part of economic empowerment as well, because these people now can see viable job opportunities in these areas. It's about how much it is to get a masquerade to perform now? $1,500. It's economic empowerment. Yes, economic empowerment. It ain't just song and dance. When the tourists come in at the port, you know how the face light up when they see the masquerades come down there? That's what we're talking about. This is not just song and dance. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, I just wanted to touch that because I think some people look at entertainment as just something frivolous, but I think the entertainment sector has a lot of promise for our young people. And if we are powering progress, then we must tap into that promise well into the future. But, Madam Deputy Speaker, this is one of the problems that our creative sector has suffered from in the past. Because everybody sees it as something simple. And let me say here and now, and put this on the record, Madam Deputy Speaker, that our creative practitioners are not just artists. They are economic drivers. They are cultural ambassadors, Madam Deputy Speaker. And they are symbols of national pride. Not just no singer, worker piece. These are ambassadors. These are symbols of national pride. Economic drivers, Madam Speaker. This is what the creative economy represents. And as I up to come down closer to my wrap-up, Madam Speaker, I want to speak on the Ministry of Sports, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Deputy Speaker, the Ministry of Sports. When we took office, Madam Deputy Speaker, I must say, it was a tad bit disappointing. Because in taking office, you go to our premier sporting facilities and you recognize Warner Park Cricket Stadium, dilapidated condition. You ask a question, when was the last time any real investment was made here? 5, 6 years. You go to Kim Collins Stadium, dilapidated condition. When was the last time any significant investment was made here? 8 years. You go to Basketball City, dilapidated condition. When was the last time any significant investment was made here? Maybe 12 years. You go to Warner Park Football, same thing. You go to Warner Park Tennis, same thing. You go to Warner Park Netball, same thing. Every last one of our premier sporting facilities ran down. Then you go into the communities, even worse. Basketball courts, even worse. Netball courts, even worse. And you recognize, wow, what was done in the years prior to now? What was done when, by the admission of our member from number 7, we had surplus after surplus? What was done then? When they were all left to be run down. And we have to now come in and get to work. And we've gotten to work, Madam Deputy Speaker. We have started that fight. But that is why a budget like this is important, Madam Deputy Speaker. Because if we don't invest in our people and our infrastructure, what's going to happen to our athletes in the next 10 years? What? And that is why we have to now drive and empower this progress. We've seen the work that has happened in the Connery Stadium. And the member from number 8, you know, he's certainly proud of that. Because the people of Connery finally has gotten a stadium. And what you said, not a pontoon? Yeah, they finally got a stadium. We see the work that is ongoing at Kim Collins at the moment, getting ready for the new track season to launch our very new track from Regapal. Very new track. We were advised by the Jamaicans that we need to go with this company because they have the best surface at Regapal. And we now see that track being laid, getting ready for the new athletic season. Madam Deputy Speaker, the building getting almost a complete overhaul from the roof right down. The work is ongoing. I mean, so much is happening within that. We had to repair the lights in Warner Park football just a few months ago because at the end of the day, all the games are having to go to the technical center. And we discussed with the Football Association and we worked out a deal, got the lights repaired. Warner Park Cricket, we had to repair the lights and the Jumbotron. That was such an embarrassing moment, Madam Deputy Speaker. Imagine we getting ready to get to host our cricket, and we call in for the usual repairs for the Jumbotron, and the service providers say, no, we've said to your government 2 years ago that we will no longer repair that because it's so far out of date. So far out of date, we no longer repair it. So we had to make a decision right away to buy a new Jumbotron. Well, if they were outdated long time, they were never repaired, and that's the point that I'm making. Ed, they weren't repaired. So we had to buy a new one. We had to buy a new one. And that is what we are doing here, Madam Deputy Speaker. And this year, we replaced the entire Jumbotron and had a new Jumbotron installed at Warner Park. And we've seen the images. I am not just here talking this. We've seen the Kim Collins Stadium images. We've seen Warner Park images. We've seen it. So it's not that I am just here talking. It is clear. People see it. People complain about it daily on social media. And we get into work. We're fixing it. But outside of that, Madam Deputy Speaker, while that represents part of what we do in the Ministry of Sports with, what is allocated, we also have been able to put sports back in our schools, which is something that we have been very proud of. Football, netball, cricket, we've been able to reinstitute leagues into our primary, high school, and tertiary schools. So now we have primary school cricket, exciting primary school cricket. We have high school cricket. We have primary school netball. We have high school netball, tertiary netball. We have primary school football, high school football, tertiary football. Madam Deputy Speaker, our youth need to be active. We have within this country a number of world champions awaiting their development. But if we don't give them the proper infrastructure and the proper training, they may never be able to realize that potential. And that is why we have to invest in them now. And that is what this government is doing. Making the right investment in our people for future development. That is what our government is doing, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this is what it's all about. We are here creating a sports revolution, Madam Deputy Speaker. One that would empower the youth, one that would honor our pioneers of the past, and one that would position St. Kitts and Nevis as a leader in sports development across the region. And not just for today, but we're talking about for generations to come. Investment, powering progress, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, as I come to wrap up, how much time I have? I want to speak briefly. I want to speak briefly on National Carnival. We've launched Carnival last week Friday, and we've seen last night Miss Teen St. Kitts and Nevis. We saw a wonderful launch on Friday, and we've recognized the significance of our Carnival product, along with the work in tourism and National Carnival. Last December, recorded, I think it was the highest visitorship in how long? Very long time. How much was it, Honorable Member? The Honorable Member would speak to that. But we see the importance in driving our economy. And I want to thank the Carnival Committee for the hard work that they put in. And I want to say this about them because there's one thing that we don't recognize sometimes, that the work that they do is volunteer work. And so the Carnival Committee largely does volunteer service in driving Carnival over the 2 to 3 weeks of the entire Carnival season, night after night, all day, all night, largely as volunteer service. And I think it's important to commend them for what they've been doing so far. 53 years of National Carnival, 53 years of volunteerism. And what we've seen in the last 3 years of National Carnival is a huge increase in the national support and the regional support for Carnival. It was just last Carnival when we had some persons rating St. Kitts and Nevis' National Carnival as one of the top 3 carnivals in the region. And so we see where the Carnival is making strides and becoming a global product. That's top 3 in the region we've been rated recently. And we want to take that even further. And we are putting in that work, Madam Deputy Speaker, putting in the investment and ensuring that our National Carnival product can shine across the region as one of the best carnivals. And so I'm happy for that as the Minister of Carnival to see that success. And I want to thank the committee and all involved and everybody here, because Carnival is all of we. No matter how hard the committee works, if we don't have the revelers and the people participating in the troops and the bands, it's still not the product that it ought to be. So I want to thank the entire country. I want to thank everybody that comes into the country for Carnival. And I want to ensure that we will continue doing the work necessary to drive St. Kitts and Nevis's Carnival, to drive Sugar Mass to becoming the #1 carnival in the region in times to come. And so, again, kudos to the Carnival Committee, kudos to all the winners and everyone that participates. And hopefully we'll see our member from number 6 maybe joining one of the bands. And we saw our member from number 3 put down a massive showcase on Friday. What? Yeah. Me? Pull out the old canvas. Yeah.
Thank you for the invite.
No problem. It is all of our thing. The product belongs to everybody. And we want to keep it that way. A national product. And in all to end, Madam Deputy Speaker, I myself, I am thankful and honored to stand in this house as a representative for constituency number 4. They have given their confidence in me to be here and represent them and represent St. Kitts and Nevis. And I have made a number of commitments to them and to the country. And I stand by these commitments. I stand by these commitments. And that is why there's hardly a week that I'm not somewhere in my constituency engaging with my people. I had committed to them that at least once a month I'll be there. I have been there maybe almost once a week, if not more. But I also made commitments to them for a number of things, to bring a different style of politics, Madam Deputy Speaker. And that is why sometimes, in sticking to my commitments, I have learned to say less and do more. Because time will reveal the truth of what is done versus what is said. And we have people that say a lot, but when you start checking the fact sheet, Madam Deputy Speaker, that fact sheet is quite empty. And so I've learned to say less and do more, because I committed that to the people of this country and the people of Constituency 4. My commitment to the farmers, I have kept. We have been fencing farms across the country, providing water solutions to farms across the country, providing markets across the country for farmers. My commitment to our Rastafari community, we have kept that as a parliament. We have passed legislations to empower the Rastafari community. We are seeking now to fully establish a cannabis industry that has been a talk, as the member for number 9 has said, for the last almost a decade. And by the admission of the board, we'll be ready in 2025. And we have also stuck to our commitment for small businesses, as I have made. Madam Speaker, I'm also sticking to the commitment because I love this A-team. I love this A-team. Yes, led by our leader and visionary, Dr. Terrence Jew. I mean, I love this A-team. And with the wisdom and the experience of our honorable member for number 6, and for the composure and leadership of our honorable member for number 1, who got the most products in the world. Products in the world, our member for number 1.
And I'm so proud of you, one of my products.
But we have a wonderful A-team, and everybody is really putting in work. And when we sit in the cabinet and you hear the discussions from everyone in terms of how they're driving their sectors, it inspires you to just go and keep working. And I love that inspiration. And I want to say to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, you have a good team. We inherited, unfortunately, some unfortunate situations. But you got a good team that's driving from the foundation upward. We're building St. Kitts and Nevis from the foundation upward and powering that progress. And with that, Madam Speaker, I want to say many more years for the A-team, many more years of success and progress to St. Kitts and Nevis, and many more years, or let us bring the glory years back to our country, which may please you.
Thank you, Honorable Member for St. Christopher 4. I recognize the Honorable Member for Nevis 11.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. And with your leave, I rise to make my contribution to the bill currently before this Honorable House, Appropriation 2025, Bill 2024. And Madam Deputy Speaker, as I rise this morning, I'm reminded of some teachings that I would have had in the past, where it was said to me that life is like a relay. And in life, you know, you get a baton and it's passed on to you, and then you have to continue the race. And whether it is in your personal life, whether it is in your political life, whether it's in administration somewhere, for example, the leader of this country would have gotten the baton from the previous leader, and that leader would have gotten it from the leader prior as well. Same thing with the constituency that we all represent. We would have gotten a baton from the previous representative, and we take it and we run with it. And so it applies to ministries as well too. There was a minister prior to whomever is there. And so that is how the system works, and that is how life is. And so how you continue that race is important, and the net result of that is what you do with that baton and what becomes of your time in that space. So the relay continues in every aspect and in every walk of life. So I rise this morning, Madam Deputy Speaker, and when I say I rise this morning, I'm proud to do so because I do so on behalf of my constituents, Nevis 11, which is St. James and St. Thomas Parish combined to form Nevis 11. And when I speak on their behalf as persons who I represent, and I'm proud to do so. And I want to say this morning to this Honorable House that what I may say this morning may be contrary to some, but it would also be what I have been speaking to my constituents about in terms of what their feelings are regarding to the way the country is being run and what is happening in this country. What I can certainly say, Madam Deputy Speaker, is that they've always said to me that they're tired of the noise. They're tired of the empty rhetoric. They're tired of, just the banter and the back and forth that doesn't bring any net result to them. Many of them have sought to engage themselves in various areas where they're saying they want to be able to progress in the area that they're in, whether it's a small business, whatever area they're in, they want to make sure they're making progress, and the noise and the back and forth certainly doesn't get them anywhere as such, but they want to get a prescription that will provide them with that pathway forward. And so we are here to debate, and we are here to lend our voice to this particular bill before us, and also to, in many parts, if there are suggestions that can be made that will make a difference out there in somebody's life, that is what we're here to do, and not necessarily to make noise and to go back and forth on issues that sometimes, in my opinion, can be well settled easily by just offering your opinion to that matter or that issue. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, I'm coming after the member for St. Christopher 4, and Minister of Agriculture and the likes. I did not intend to start with agriculture, but since I'm coming after him, a lot of things are fresh in my mind, and I would prefer to start there this morning and to say that, of course, I made the reference to the baton being passed on. Of course, the current minister would have taken that baton and have moved forward, of course, yes. And I've done some things, but I'm sure there are other things that I can point out where I can offer some suggestion, which I'll do so as we go along. Of course, we are coming out of a pandemic of 2020 and just after 2020 as well, Madam Speaker. I'm not going back there because since then we have had some instability throughout the globe. You know, wars here in Ukraine and the war in Israel and the likes, and all of these instabilities have created difficulties for us here in this part of the hemisphere. We are considered to be the global south, so whether we're in the global south, whether we're in the global, or persons are in the global north, wherever they are in Asia, in Africa, wherever they are, persons we know have to eat, and that's where agriculture comes into play. And by saying that, we here in the Federation, we have to understand that we are a huge importer of many of the things that we consume. And so when you hear the talk about cost of living is high and so forth, let us put down a marker and say that we import inflation every single week. Every time those containers land here at the Deepwater Port, every time they land in Long Point in Nevis, every time you import stuff that comes through RLB or into the Van Samry or by whatever means they come into the country, you're importing inflation every single day, every week, every month, every year. And that is the sad reality of the situation that we have to face. And so when it comes to agriculture, we see some hope there in terms of what we can seek to eliminate what we call import substitution. And so this morning we would have heard from the Minister of Agriculture, and he touched on a few things, of course, various crops, yes. This morning, though, I want not just to gloss over something that is dear to me. When I say dear to me, I believe that there is significant hope in the poultry industry here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I don't think we are paying enough attention to it. And I don't want the poultry industry to be one of those boxes that you tick with no impact. And I would make reference to the cannabis industry, which the minister did indicate that we're somewhat late, yes, but of course there is still hope there. But I am saying that at this point in time, I do believe that we need to do more, and we can invest more in the poultry sector and make it a major industry for us here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And I speak this morning because I do not believe St. Kitts and Nevis should be competing in this particular space in terms of the poultry industry. It is one where both of us can complement each other and make it something big for our people. And here's what I'll say to the listening public and viewing public, Madam Deputy Speaker. We have made some efforts in Nevis. And I want at this point to commend and thank the Republic of China, Taiwan, for following through on an initiative that was started, I believe, back in 2021, whereby they have made a hatchery available to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, positioned here in St. Kitts, whereby they'll be producing 20,000 birds per year in that hatchery for the poultry sector, both layers and broilers. But I want to go one step further because that is a good initiative. But the Republic of China, Taiwan, through their technical mission, have given us a start. And that is like giving us a baton to run with. And that's why I started the way I did. So they have given us that start, they have given us that hand up, and they have given us that fish, not the fish to eat, but taught us how to fish, so to speak. So here's what my suggestion is going to be regarding what we must do from here on in. Because if the minister is correct that we import just about $20,000 worth of chicken into the Federation, I believe his figures are correct. That is a lot of money, Madam Deputy Speaker. But 20,000 birds will not get us there, nowhere close. And here's why I say that. A potential farmer may want 2,500 birds every 7 weeks. That's one farmer's production, so to speak, or the amount of birds that they'll need. So you're saying to us that this particular hatchery is geared towards one particular farmer in the first instance. Mark you, I'm just giving you by way of example. It therefore means that one farmer here in St. Kitts will consume those 20,000 birds, raise them, and every 7 weeks or 8 weeks they need another 2,500. So that's 20,000 thereabout in 1 year. And the reason why I'm raising that is because I am going one step further and making a suggestion to this parliament and to the powers that be, that there are persons in the federation who want to start their own hatchery as well. But part of the drawback that they face is the financing to buy the equipment to do so, and also the financing to buy the eggs, the fertile eggs that are needed to get that hatchery or the incubator going. So I am proposing to this honorable house, to the minister, or to the member for St. Christopher 4, that throughout the federation, we can identify those potential farmers who are willing to. I can think of someone from Nevis, and I'm going to call a name here. For example, Jamal Daniel, who would have studied in Jamaica while he was there getting his degree, or his license, not his license, but his degree to be a land surveyor. He said he worked on farms in Jamaica to make ends meet. So he would have acquired some of that knowledge. I can think of, there's an abbot, I believe, somewhere up in Phillips Mountain. The member for St. Christopher 8 might know who I'm talking about. I believe the first name I'm not recalling, but the last name is Abbott. I remember there are poultry farmers up there, hard-working people, a husband and wife team, and they can be empowered to get into what I'm talking about as well. There are other persons, but I just mentioned those two in passing. The reason why I say that it is important to invest in these people, you have to start with the birds. And if you were to make any dent, any serious dent into $20 million, you need hundreds of thousands of birds in order to get this industry where we want it to be, and to cut the importation of chicken by 10%, 15%, 30% for that matter, over a given period of time. And so, Madam Deputy Speaker, we would have glossed over that in the presentation this morning. I'm going deeper by even saying that if there are persons out there who are willing to get into the poultry business, we have to find a way to perhaps make land available to them. Because you're trying to build an industry, one that is doing well in America and Jamaica and Barbados and those places, but they would have invested in their people in order to ensure that they get something going. It's a way to provide employment. It is a way to provide employment. And persons out there who we believe are doing well, making a $6,000 or $7,000 a year, not a year, but per month, they also want another way to subsidize the monies that they're making. And many persons out there have been asking me day after day, when are you going to start this thing, get this thing going? When are we going to get the poultry sector or the industry up and going? Because someone can have the land space somewhere and they want to utilize it, well, give them the opportunity to. And then, of course, you would have, as we're trying to do in Nevis, which we'll get there in short order, is to get the slaughtering facility going, so that those same persons you would have empowered to start their little business, their poultry business, they would then feed into that particular slaughter facility. And so you're creating the opportunities for both the farmer and also the government itself is playing its part. We continue to talk about a sustainable island state. How do you accomplish that? You accomplish it by partnering with your citizens and making them much more empowered than they are now, so that they can buy into what you're trying to accomplish and help you to accomplish it as well. And so, Madam Deputy Speaker, I see money in the making for persons who would want to get into that industry. And so we need to be able to put the infrastructure in place. I'll go one step further and say that we would have developed something in Nevis whereby we were offering, or we will be offering incentives to persons who will be getting into that particular area of production. And so those incentives, I believe, will also play a part in ensuring that we are all accomplishing that goal of creating what we call import substitution of chicken into the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. It is a low-hanging fruit, in my opinion. Yes, we know about the crop farming, we know about all of the different things, lettuce and watermelon. Those things, training have been done year after year, year in, year out, and we have seen the results of that. But the poultry industry is one that I am committed to in terms of lending my voice at all times. The poultry industry is one that can build this an economic sector for us here in the Federation so that we can eat healthy here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm not done with it yet, Madam Deputy Speaker, because we also will need the care of the birds to be, the birds will have to get proper care administered to them. We have to start empowering young people to go away to study, to be veterinarians, to take care of these birds. So it's not just you start it today and say, well, go out and produce. It's a wholesome approach to an entire industry that you're trying to build. So we haven't started doing the work as yet in terms of getting deep into this thing so that at least 5 years from now, we can see our efforts mushrooming into something big. Barbados down there is self-sufficient. We sometimes depend on them for young chicks. We don't want to do that. We want to be self-sufficient here. Jamaica, the same way. We want to be able to do our own thing here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis when transportation cost becomes a problem. When other things become a problem, then you don't have to sit and wait, but you have the production right here. And so I want to leave that for now, Madam Deputy Speaker, because if I continue talking, I'll actually be here talking about it for a lot longer, but I have asked the member for St. Christopher 4 if you need advice, I'm available. And I'm serious. And when I say I'm serious, because I come here from time to time, right? And when you listen to persons on the street and you follow some of the debates on social media, it seems like they want us to come here and cuss, cuss Labour, cuss the Prime Minister, and vice versa. Have a cussing game inside here. But that is why I said the noise and the cussing won't get us nowhere as a federation. I think we have had enough of that in the past. And so that is why we are saying that if we have some good ideas that we want to pass on here in this federation, out of us, nothing wrong with doing so. Let's do so. But in so doing, we're hoping that the government side would listen and embrace what we are saying. Because sometimes you may not have all the ideas, but from wherever you get it from, sometimes you can, accept it, build on it. But the name just came back for me. Thank you, member for Nevis 9. Thelma Abbott. I want that to be noted because I call her from time to time. I haven't called her in a while, but that lady and her husband are two hard-working persons who are into the poultry business already. They're willing to go further. And so when you meet persons who are willing to work and are working hard and are putting in the effort, we want to continue to give them the incentives to go further. So that is the name. See, I'm taking care of St. Kitts people too, but I also want Nevisians to be taken care as well too.
Okay, so it's 12:13. We're gonna go take a quick break and get our headline news, and we're gonna come back. That was Troy Labbott giving his Alexis Jeffers. I always get mixed up for some reason. Minister Alexis Jeffers is the minister of. Okay, they don't have his portfolios. They did earlier for Samuel Huggins, but we're gonna rejoin after we get our headline news. So let's go and get that.
You found the sound. 98.9 Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, National Bank, and Carib Brewery.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Delisle Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Now loans, cash at the speed of life, so fast you won't believe it. Now loans, cash at the speed of life, right now, right now. If you need cash in a flash with now, no need to fuss, leave it to us. When you need cash in a flash, no need to fuss, leave it to us. Hear me now. Now loans, cash at the speed of life, so fast you won't believe it. Now loans, cash at the speed of life, right now, right now. Approved in a day, yeah, yeah. Some money on the way, yeah, yeah. Approved in a day, oh, yeah, you know it's coming.
When life throws surprises your way, Now's here to help. Whether it's for an urgent bill payment, home improvements, or unexpected health expenses, or even that last-minute holiday trip. With Now, you get cash in a flash, approved in just 24 hours.
Approved in a day, yeah, yeah. Some money on the way, yeah, yeah. Approved in a day, oh, yeah, you know it's coming. Now loans, cash at the speed of life, so fast you won't believe it. Now loans, cash at the speed of life, right now, right now.
A loan product powered by National Bank.
With the WinFM Midday News, I am Kevon Brown.
And I am Yulana Weeks.
Our top stories.
Miss Soraya Williams Powell was crowned as the Republic Bank Miss Teen St. Kitts and Nevis pageant queen.
St. Kitts Nevis opposition leader on the state of crime in the country during intervention on 2025 budget. New leader of the New National Party in Grenada shares priority areas for the party's future. Controversy continues over Venezuelan migrants stranded in Guyanese city. Internationally, Russia detains Uzbek man over general's killing in Moscow. Now the details.
Miss Soraya Williams Powell, a student of the Virchilds High School, clinched the crown in a fiercely contested Republic Bank Miss Teen St. Kitts and Nevis pageant on Tuesday night, December 17, 2024. She cried tears of joy as her hard work and dedication had finally paid off. Of the 5 judged segments, Soraya won the Best Personality and Achievement Speech, Best Costume, and Best Formal Teenage Wear for a total of 692 points. She also won the Miss Amity, Miss Photogenic, and Social Media Awards. The first runner-up position was awarded to Lajanique Boone of the Immaculate Conception Catholic School, who attained the Chairperson Award. She amassed a total of 684 points. Miss Deshinaya Charles of the Keon High School won the Best Onstage Interview and Best Performing Talent for the second runner-up position with 666 points. The other participants were Kyla Gerald of the Saddlers Secondary School, Ushatika Francis of the Bastia High School, and Jonish Rogers from Washington Archibald High School. All 16 beauties performed exceptionally well, quite evident by the implementation of the tiebreaker policy on 2 occasions. The contestants' talents particularly moved viewers of the show. Some sharing real-life stories of losing their fathers to acts of violence and the pain of growing up without their dads, whilst some other contestants focused on abuse, particularly the concern of adult men robbing girls of their innocence. The Minister of Creative Economy and Parliamentary Representative for Constituency Number 4, Honorable Samal Duggins, congratulated the Teen Queen and expressed his immense pride that the crown returned to his alma mater after a 1-year hiatus. Quote, "Congratulations to the newly crowned Republic Bank Miss Teen St. Kitts and Nevis Soraya Williams Powell, representing my alma mater, the best school in the multiverse, Virchilds High School. You absolutely brought the fire and made us all so proud. Your victory was well deserved, and your performance was nothing short of spectacular." Unquote. Minister Duggins also congratulated the first and second runner-up places and the other contestants for their display of spectacular performances. The Republic Bank Miss Teen St. Kitts and Nevis pageant has been one of Sugar Mass's most sought-after events. Like in recent years, this year the tickets were sold out despite the hundreds of people who viewed the pageant live on social media. The growing interest in the show is backed by the teen beauties who year after year promote themselves with a high level of confidence and energy. Minister Duggins expressed a quote, "This sold-out show was truly one for the history books, showcasing the immense talent and grace of our nation's youth. Kudos to all the participants for an unforgettable night."
In response to Prime Minister the Honourable Dr. Terence Drew's budget presentation regarding crime and violence, Leader of the Opposition and Premier of Nevis, the Honourable Mark Brantley, expressed serious concerns over the ongoing challenges facing the Federation. During his rebuttal on December 17, 2024, Brantley lamented the surge in crime while advocating for a collaborative approach among all sectors of society to address this pressing issue. Brantley emphasized the need for collective action, stating,
"A political culture where we as parliamentarians only have ideas when we are in government, but can only advance criticism, devoid of recommendations and solutions when we are in opposition."
He urged all St. Kitts and Nevis stakeholders to pool ideas and resources to combat crime effectively. Brantley highlighted that crime stems from societal issues rather than government actions alone, noting,
"Indeed, there are some problems which are beyond the capacity of even large governments to solve. Crime is one such problem, as it emanates not from government or government institutions, but from the society itself."
The Leader of the Opposition emphasized solutions rather than blame, insisting that the focus should remain on the criminals and addressing deviant behavior, not wasting our time attacking each other.
"I extend always my hand of friendship to the government to help in any way that I can, recognizing that crime is everybody's problem, and that without citizen security, the country cannot achieve any lasting economic or social gains."
Brantley referenced the historical context of crime in St. Kitts and Nevis, citing the most murderous year in St. Kitts and Nevis's history in 2008 with 35 murders. Crime has remained a constant threat throughout the years, regardless of which party is in power. His emphasis on a bipartisan effort to tackle crime underscored his desire for unity in the face of a societal problem that transcends politics. In addition to discussing crime, Brantley pointed out the interconnected nature of global events and their impact on local issues, particularly the rising cost of living. He compared the challenges faced by small island nations like St. Kitts and Nevis with those of larger countries, capturing the idea that complex issues like crime and economic hardship cannot be tackled with simple isolated actions. Using examples from the global stage, Brantley elaborated on the increase in smuggling activities, emphasizing the necessity for a robust response to both crime and economic difficulties exacerbated by external circumstances like the war in Ukraine.
I mention Ukraine because sometimes I think it's important for our people to understand the interconnectivity of the world. So we hear about war in Ukraine. The man on the bus in Cairns said, "That's not got nothing to do with me." The man on the bus to Cotton Ground in Nevis said, "That's them people over there in Europe playing the fool. That has nothing to do with me." But the Ukrainian grain market is one of the largest in the world. Do we know, Madam Speaker, that 5% of total global wheat exports comes from Ukraine? 5%. 40% of global sunflower meal exports and 35% of sunflower oil exports come from Ukraine. We know in St. Kitts Nevis, we love bread more than anything else. We have more bakeries per capita than anywhere else in the world, I'm sure. We love cakes, we love dumplings. Anything and everything made with flour, we love. Well, flour is made from wheat. If wheat production is globally impacted by war in Ukraine, then wheat will become more expensive, leading to wheat products like flour being more expensive, leading to products from flour like bread being more expensive. So I ask the question rhetorically because I know what the answer is.
He highlighted that elements like the cost of food and daily necessities are significantly influenced by international markets, making it challenging for local government to effect immediate change. Brantley reiterated the importance of dialogue and collaboration in governance. His comments reflect a call of unity and a proactive approach to addressing the interlinked challenges of crime, economic resilience, and societal well-being. The leader of the opposition's perspective underscores the critical need for collective efforts as the Federation seeks a safer and more prosperous future. Brantley's return to this central theme, collaborative engagement to combat crime, sets the stage for ongoing discussions among all stakeholders about the most effective strategies to ensure the safety and security of citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. In regional news, new leader of the new National Party in Grenada shares priority areas for the party's future. Grenada Broadcasting Network has that story.
Newly elected political leader of the opposition New National Party, Emmeline Pierre, has outlined her plans and priority areas to take the party forward.
My first order of business would be to reach out to the membership of this party at all levels. Let us put differences aside and let us focus on what unites us together. Let us build bridges of understanding and collaboration, ensuring that every voice is heard and every voice is valued.
The political leader presented a 5-point agenda to the delegates for the way forward in her acceptance speech. The plan, Pierre said, will focus on empowering and expanding party membership, among other areas.
Point number one, empowering and expanding our party membership. Firstly. 2, preserving and upholding our core values. 3, modernizing organizational structures and systems. I'm giving us the matching orders today. 4, ensuring financial stability. 5, finally, fostering unity and building strategic alliances.
Elaborating on empowering and expanding of the party's membership, Pierce said, if the organs of the party are strong and working well, then the party will remain strong and resilient, able to respond effectively to the needs of the people while remaining steadfast in its mission of service. Pierre emphasized the need to immediately expand on programs and the integration of modern technology, particularly ICT, into the operations and election machinery. Speaking about the financial stability of the party, Pierre, who formerly served as public relations officer, told delegates that a strong financial foundation is essential for the sustainability of the party's initiatives. Christina John, GBN News.
Controversy continues over Venezuelan migrants stranded in Guyanese city. Guyana News source reports.
Well, controversy erupted between the government and the opposition Alliance for Change over assistance that should be offered to a group of migrants found stranded outside a city supermarket. On Monday afternoon, a group of over 40 adults and children was observed on the pavement outside the Real Value supermarket on Church Street, seeking assistance. The leader of the Alliance for Change, Nigel Hughes, visited the scene and met with the group. During the roadside meeting with the AFC leader, some of the persons presented Venezuelan identification cards and claimed that they had traveled to Georgetown on the invitation of the president after meeting with the president last week in Essequibo. The president's office has since denied that claim. One of the members of the group explained to the AFC leader that during a recent meeting with the president, he was asked to provide a contact number. He said he later received a call from someone who said they were from the president's office and was told that they needed to travel to Georgetown to meet with the president.
One girl called me, president.
The AFC leader said while he was meeting with the persons, minister within the office of the Prime Minister Kwame McCoy arrived on the scene and also started to engage the persons. McCoy was later captured on camera facing off with a woman over assistance that should be offered to the group. With his mobile phone in hand recording the confrontation, McCoy was later observed leaving the scene, while declaring that Nigel Hughes and the AFC should offer help.
Nigel Hughes and the AFC said you have that.
You can say what he is saying. You're the minister. You shouldn't go away.
Which minister?
No, he is the minister. He should go away.
Go along.
In an unprecedented move, the president's personal military aide, Lieutenant Colonel Earl Edgell of the Guyana Defense Force, appeared on the president's Facebook page in a video recorded response to the controversy. The military officer said last Thursday during a visit by the president to Essequibo, a number of persons surrounded the president to take photographs and ask for assistance.
At no time at all was the president or persons associated with the president invited anyone to Georgetown.
The president's military aide then explained that one day after the president's visit to Essequibo, a group of persons claiming to be from Essequibo turned up outside the president's official residence at State House. He said those persons claimed that they had been instructed by the president to come to the city. Lieutenant Colonel Edgell said he made contact with the president and was instructed by the president to provide humanitarian assistance to the persons, as he, the president, never invited or encouraged the persons to come to the city.
We took them to the One Guyana kitchen, just opposite State House, and we fed just about 30 persons, adults, and about 15 children, ranging from as young as a newborn to about 9 years old. We then gave them hampers as instructed by His Excellency. I then made contact with the Guyana Defense Force and got a bus to assist in transporting them to Puerto Rico. Whilst at Puerto Rico, they were given dinner, they were housed for the night, and they were given breakfast the next morning. The other financial assistance that they received, as well as transportation on the boat to Essequibo.
The military aide said it was appalling to hear and see the same persons making outlandish claims.
It is appalling to now hear and see that the same set of individuals are in town making outlandish claims. I feel as though our assistance has been wasted and we are being targeted without cause. I will present photos to show that on Friday they received their hampers.
The statement by the president's personal military aide was the only one released by the government of Guyana on the issue on Monday night.
We now bring you these international reports.
Russia says it's detained a man it says was responsible for the assassination of top Russian general in Moscow on Tuesday. Investigators in Russia say the 29-year-old Uzbek man was recruited by Ukrainian special forces, promised $100,000 and given permission to move to the EU in return for killing Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov. Kirillov was the head of the Russian army's nuclear and chemical weapons division, who Kiev claims had carried out war crimes and therefore was a legitimate target. I was speaking to the former Ukrainian finance minister, Alexander Danylyuk. He gave me his reaction.
They just investigated what happened. I think what is more important is actually the fact that the senior military, Russian military that launched aggression against Ukraine and who authorized commitment of terrible crimes in Ukraine against the military and civilians, he got what he deserved, right? So he was killed one way or another. He got what he deserved. That was as important. That's also a very strong signal for any other guys of his level and higher level who pretty much who execute the orders that they receive from above. They should know that the punishment will follow. That happened before as well. For example, in Crimea, another senior military person was assassinated. The one who actually was personally giving commands for sending the cruise missiles to kill Ukrainians all around Ukraine. So they should know that the punishment will reach them, whether it will be today, tomorrow, in 1 year, in 2 years, in 10 years. It will come.
And Mr. Danylyuk, hearing what Russia has said about their suspect being an Uzbek citizen, promised all this money by Ukraine, permission to move to the EU. They describe exactly how they believe this assassination was carried out. Do you think that these details are plausible? Could it have happened like this?
Well, potentially it could be. Everything is possible, right? Russia is a very complicated country. There are so many people in Russia who want some assurances, but I cannot tell you. It's there is no official confirmation. It was done by Ukrainian special forces, right? Special services. So it's all in the air, right? So again, as I said, how it was done is a separate story. What Russia should know, and they should worry about what's happening within the Russia. This oppressive regime created a lot of unhappy people. Those who want to see Russia different, those who want Putin to leave and be punished for what he's done for Russian population as well.
What effect do you think this is having on the Kremlin, on the thinking of Vladimir Putin, to have an assassination like this of a high-level official right in the heart of the capital of Russia?
Well, for Putin, it's nothing new. He's from the security services himself. He was committing similar crimes against his own citizens in the past, so he knows how it is done. Right. So, maybe he's thinking about the retaliation. Maybe retaliation will come. That's how they work. It's not a threat that it will come. But there is no other way, right? We need to We need to show the Russians who now majority, especially in Moscow, live in this interesting kind of limbo, right? They don't see the war at all. They need to see that war is actually just near to them. And with their silence, thousands of innocent Ukrainians being killed, millions left their homes, and this is their direct responsibility.
In the village of Ashraf, families take shelter after being expelled from their homes by the Israeli army.
It was dawn when they rolled in with their tanks and bulldozers into our village. They fired on people and homes and terrorized women and children. They gathered people in school and detaining them for several hours. Then an army general came and told them they have half an hour to leave the village without carrying anything with them. We are homeless now.
Quneitra on the slopes of Mount Hermon or Jabal al-Sheikh is in the buffer zone beyond the occupied areas of the Golan Heights. But since the fall of Bashar al-Assad, the Israeli army has pushed forward into this area inside Syria. From where I stand, the nearest Israeli military posts are only a few hundred meters in this direction. This is where the first Israeli tanks crossed into Syria on November 8. Up to now, they have occupied 7 villages in the wider Quneitra area, the village of Hamidiyya. The Israeli army now occupies the headquarters of the Quneitra governorate in Hamidiyya. Its tanks scour the Quneitra countryside and it imposes a nightly curfew.
To be honest, we couldn't enjoy the fall of the dictator Bashar because immediately on the following morning, Israeli tanks rolled in our streets.
Abu Jihad says his greatest fear is to see a repetition of 1967, when his people were forced from most of the Golan Heights.
An Israeli soldier asked me in Arabic if I'm the village chief. I said yes. He asked if he could come over. I said, for what purpose have you come here? This is our land. To which he replied, no, this is the land of Israel. I said, no, you're coming as an occupier, but we are not going to move from here.
Abu Jihad says he has managed to establish a line of communication with the Israeli army in order to coordinate safe movement for his people.
We are upset with the new leaders for failing to be with us. We're told they are in Aleppo, Hama, Homs, and so on. Well, can't they at least send someone to meet with us? There's simply nowhere to be seen. Look, the Israeli tanks are right here. They're destroying the trees. If there is coordination between them and our government, we are not aware of it.
Syria's new leadership says it is not looking for new conflicts. It has called on the international community to intervene to ensure Syria's sovereignty. But without any Syrian forces here, residents fear what lies ahead for their area and its population. Mohammed Val, Al Jazeera, Quneitra, the Golan Heights.
There are concerns that the cyclone that hit the French Indian Ocean island of Mayotte has caused great loss of life. A surgeon said the emergency department at his hospital had seen worryingly few patients given the scale of the destruction. There are reports many people had disappeared into shanty towns where thousands of illegal migrants lived. Many homes were flattened by winds and mudslides. Our correspondent Mayeni Jones reports from Réunion Island, south of Mayotte.
The aid efforts by the French government have been coordinated here from Réunion because a lot of Mayotte has simply been too damaged for them to be able to work there very well. Airplanes can't land at night because of damage to the one airport on the island. So currently an air corridor has been built from the island of Réunion here right up to Mayotte. The situation on the ground remains very chaotic, very desperate for people, particularly outside of the capital. A number of people are struggling to get access to water or food. They've had to restrict the amount of water and food people can buy in local supermarkets. There are reports of large queues outside banks as people try and get some cash out to buy whatever food there is left. It's also very difficult to move around the island. A lot of the roads have been damaged. Petrol is being reserved for the emergency services, understandably, but that makes it very difficult for people to move around if they do want to try and find some food and water. So the authorities say their main priority is to get water to the people there, to get the treatment plants, water treatment plants back up and and running to avoid an outbreak of infectious diseases like cholera because they don't want to complicate an already very desperate situation.
Mary Louise Eagleton is the UNICEF representative in Mozambique, where Cyclone Chido hit on Sunday.
Today's another harrowing day for the millions of children and families who've been hit by this cyclone early Sunday morning. It destroyed homes and villages, entire villages. It knocked out electricity. That means the water systems are down and there's no clean water. The schools and hospitals, health centers have been destroyed, and communities are really reeling from this. Fortunately, our teams were already on the ground. We have large teams up in northern Mozambique with our partners, other UN agencies, and the government preparing for this. We were watching it with the eye of the storm right in Mayotte as it was passing over Mayotte, coming towards Pemba in northern Mozambique Sunday morning. So we were able to immediately secure our team, secure our assets to be able to respond with those critical life-saving supplies already straight away after the cyclone. And teams have been working around the clock to get supplies, medicines, hygiene kits, and clean water to communities in the cities, but also vitally to those rural communities that are really badly impacted by this cyclone.
Bitcoin's soaring value has caught the attention of high-end fashion brands and retailers. It's prompting moves to offer cryptocurrencies as a means of payment. That would help tap into fresh pockets of wealth and build loyalty with crypto investors. Until recently, only a handful of luxury brands, including LVMH, Gucci and Balenciaga, have experimented with crypto payment offers. But in recent weeks, upscale French luxury department store Printemps announced it was teaming up with the world's largest crypto exchange, Binance, and French financial tech company Lizzie to accept cryptocurrencies. It will include Bitcoin and Ethereum in its stores in France and will become the first European department store to do so. Luxury lighter and pen maker St. Dupont told Reuters it aims to accept cryptocurrency payments in 2 Paris stores before the holidays. And cruise company Virgin Voyages began this month offering its first product accepting Bitcoin as a payment option. It's for a $120,000 annual pass for up to a year of sailing on its cruise ships. Regulators have long warned that cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin are high-risk assets with limited uses in the real world. High volatility has been another barrier to wide adoption as a means of payment. But support from US President-elect Donald Trump, who's expected to bring in more friendly e-currency regulation, have fueled record-breaking prices for Bitcoin. It topped $107,000 earlier this week. S&P analysts say the narrative is starting to shift. It's noting that blockchain innovation in financial markets could increase predictability for cryptocurrencies. Luxury labels have long sought to cater to affluent shoppers from the tech industry, and it comes as the luxury industry faces its biggest slump in years and searches for new sources of growth.
You were listening to the Midday News on WinFM 98.9. The headlines?
Miss Soraya Williams Powell was crowned as the Republic Bank Miss Teen St. Kitts and Nevis pageant queen.
St. Kitts Nevis opposition leader on the state of crime in the country during intervention on 2025 budget. New leader of the new National Party in Grenada shares priority areas for the party's future. Controversy continues over Venezuelan migrants stranded in Guyanese city. Internationally, Russia detains Uzbek man over general's killing in Moscow. Thank you for listening.
That was the WinFM Headline News. The Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, National Bank, and Carib Brewery.
Why wait for Santa when there's National? This Christmas, St. Kitts Nevis and Gwillan National Bank has just the right loan solution for you. Get up to $100,000 unsecured for all your holiday shopping needs. New furniture or carnival expenses with low interest rates, quick approval, and flexible terms. And that's not all. You can drive into the holidays with National. Whether you're buying a new or pre-owned vehicle, National has a loan for you. Get up to $160,000 with low rates, special discounts, and little to no input. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year with National Bank. Apply online at www.sknanb.com. Terms and conditions apply.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness. It's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Here are your Horsford Value Mart IGA Christmas specials. Running
December 12th to December 25th.
Now our Value Club Blue Tag specials. Peter Pan peanut butter is just $12.99 each. Bumblebee chunk light tuna, water and oil, $4.49. Sunny Delight, tangy and smooth, just $5.99. La yogurt, $3.39. Hot pockets are just $15.99 each. Chef Boyardee canned pasta and micro pasta, $6.99. And now our very low weekly
Christmas value deals. IGA Essential Everyday Complex, $9.99. Essential Everyday Pasta, $4.99. Colgate Toothpaste, $6.99. No rice and pasta side dishes, $6.99. Nature Valley Granola Bars, $12.99. Titago Soup, $12.99. Shop Smart, Shop Value Mart, $1 Spanish.
Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí en Value Mart.
Similar know about you, but me love St. Kitts and Nevis bad.
Soca Zone presents Showcase. It's a brand new show. It's an open mic edition for the artists. You can come and showcase your talent, where you can sing, do what you feel like, freestyle. If you want to be a singer from how long, but don't get it pushed down the courage, this is the show for you. Every first Saturday, every month, we're going to be doing a show for the artists them. This is what the open mic edition is all about. The host Tazlim, aka DJ Raspy of Tough House Sound, and Scratchy Bama. We don't know. Soca Zone 98.9, Win FM, Soca Zone Showcase. Every first Saturday, every month, Soca Zone presents Showcase Artist Thing 98.9.
And we're back after the headline news. It's 12:53, and we had interrupted. We had to interrupt our coverage of Minister Alexis Jeffers, who is still in full flight. So we will take you back there. And the second half of Voices is brought to you by Hosford's, and we just heard a word from Hosford. So we'll just take you back to the assembly proceedings. Alexis Jeffers continues.
Honourable Senator, no interruption, please. Honourable Member for Nevis 11, I need you to give your wrap-up.
That one went over my ball head, I'll leave it. Yes, Madam Deputy Speaker. So I want to say at this point in time and this juncture that it was indeed my pleasure to make this presentation today. And just to repeat that the ideas given, I would encourage the government to take some on board. And like I say, especially with the poultry project or the poultry industry that we're trying to build, let us sit down if we possibly can, or if we need to get expert opinion on these things, let us do so that we can put it in place and it becomes a major industry so that everyone who wants to participate can participate. Because persons who want to raise 1,000 birds, 500 birds, 2,500 birds can participate. And that would subsidize whatever income they're currently making. And so, believe it or not, there are persons who are waiting eagerly for something to be put in place so that they can participate. That being said, Madam Deputy Speaker, I want to thank you for the time permitted. And I want to, on the wrap-up, I'll come back and wish my constituents well and the likes. But I want to thank them for continuing to believe in me as their representative and giving me the opportunity to come and represent, and I'll continue to do so for the future to come, as they would permit. With those few words, Madam Deputy Speaker, I thank you for the time, and may it please you.
Thank you, Honourable Member for Nevis 11. I recognize the Honourable Senator Joel Clark.
Madam Deputy Speaker, in bringing this year to a close and preparing to map a course that welcomes the next, I paused and reflected with my entire ministry on what it truly means, in particular for me, to hold this office, thinking back on our experiences, our trials, and our triumphs over the past 2.5 years. The ministries and corporations which have had the privilege of leading sustainable development, environment, climate action, constituency empowerment, parks and beaches, and the Solid Waste Management Corporation have been dedicated to transformation. And in some cases, this meant gutting, where needed, some of the archaic practices to create space for innovation, for revitalized systems, while always being mindful to lean into and draw on the institutional integrity of the past. It is true that environmental sustainability and sustainable development, they are oftentimes misconstrued as abstractions that have no linkage to our survival, successful livelihoods, to our health, and our most basic bread and butter issues. However, this year, I believe our ministry's collective outputs, successes, and transformative ambitions have proven how intrinsic the interconnections between climate, sustainability, conservation, and environmental protection are, not just for the future, but for now. So let's make some connections. Our work, Madam Deputy Speaker, comes together like a natural ecosystem, each feeding into the other, breathing new life to a bigger picture of transformation. Think of the craft side, the craft people, the seaside ala masseuse, who walk the beaches servicing customers to earn their living. Think of the taxi men and women and the local vendors and restaurants who wait in anticipation for the bus loads of visitors ready to indulge in their kilobes, freshly caught and grilled lobster. Think of the water sport operators who are eager to take a next catamaran cruise of happy divers on a scuba excursion to experience our thriving coral reef and vibrant marine life. Think of tour guides arranging for visitors to hike our verdant trails, whether it's Mount Lyamega, Nevis Peak, or Wingfield Forest. With these images in mind, I ask you, very simple question. If our ministries fail to conserve our beaches, protect our marine biodiversity, if we allow illegal mining of our golden sand on Friars Beach, if we have no forestry management unit or marine managed areas, where would that leave those livelihoods? These very, very real people, the aloe man or woman, the taxi man or woman, the catamaran cruise staff, the divers, the fisher folk, the waiters, the bartenders, the execs, where would they be? Every time we walk the streets of Bastille and we find them clean, it's thanks to the back-breaking work of the night sweepers who clock in long after we have gone home, who scrub the drains, sweep the sidewalks, and remove the waste that we indiscriminately dispose of anywhere. Every house that's constructed had to start with a development plan, and that was informed by planning, mapping, and research to ensure that we don't use our best soils for construction or cultivate swampy lands. Deputy Speaker, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis are the heart and lifeblood of our environmental and sustainable considerations. Sustainable development, environmental sustainability, waste management, a changing climate, climate resilience, land distribution, these are all the people-centered issues that we manage. The solutions we craft and the projects that we undertake trickle down to affect every single person. Their livelihoods, their norms, their lived realities, their culture, the food they eat, and the way you want to live your lives. It's all dependent on a healthy, clean environment. And it is with this mindset that the ministries have positioned themselves to work to ensure that every single individual in St. Kitts and Nevis is protected and can understand and enjoy this sustainability transition. If you go in the streets of Bastille right now, you're going to see hundreds of tourists walking around, taking photos at the church, down on the bayfront, in the Independence Square, in a clean, healthy environment with friendly, loving, caring citizens. At the risk of disappointing a great many folk, I think I can end my budget contribution right here. No. Because I think this synopsis explains why we push, why we agitate, why we advocate, and why we have to travel to get the investments to protect our one country, St. Kitts and Nevis. But for the environmental advocates, the SDG champions, and all the people who want to hear me speak, I'm going to talk for a full 90 minutes. And I welcome the interruptions, Madam Deputy Speaker, because that is Parliament. If I need it, I don't think I need it, but I will speak because our ministries are central to development. And we have taken the past 2 years to rise beyond what it was before, PAP and land, to so much more. And the workers in our ministry deserve the 90 minutes to explain all that they do. So for them, thank you for coming today. I will speak. Let me transition to discuss the work of our substantive departments in directing sustainability and environmental transition. My presentation today stands firm and strong on the work and leadership of my senior management team, including 2 PSs, 11 directors, a chief policy analyst, a general manager, 2 board chairs, 17 senior leaders who have tirelessly worked and rallied behind the renewed vision for sustainability, environmental protection, planning, mapping, and development. The member for Nevis 9 has done an excellent job for us, but I'm still going to talk the same things, in outlining how development and progress correlate with increasing population. As Minister with responsibility for statistics and population development, indulge me as I share some very important population statistics for your consideration. 2022 population, 51,320, an increase of 8.7%. 4,125 persons in the past 11 years. Sex ratio, 25,000 males compared to 26,320 females. For every 100 females, there are about 95 males. A fact that does not augur well for single women like me. I have to sort myself out. Life expectancy, 54 in 1960, up to 69 in 2022 for males and 75 for females. The average kitchen, 69. Get married and you're gonna live longer. No, people in general, yeah, they do.
Honourable Member, Honourable Senator.
I welcome it, Madam Deputy Speaker, because guess what? I started Parliament in an environment that didn't even allow you to take a breath. You couldn't talk. So this is nothing compared to how I started in 2021.
Okay, Honourable Member, Honourable Senator, let's continue.
Yes, I will for 90 minutes. Of course, at least.
Honourable members, let's limit the interruption. Honourable Senator, please continue.
So the number of households have increased 28% from 16,000 to 21,000 with an average size of 2.38 persons per home. The data is showing that the era of the extended family is slowly waning to a close. We have 60% home ownership and just 32% rentals. About 39% of people own their homes and 21% of them have mortgages. This is depicting that we, as a people, we are swiftly becoming independent homeowners, which is a positive signal for our development. Our population pyramid is characteristic of a developing society with an aging population. Note well. It's a significantly lower percentage of persons 0 to 19. This unfortunately means that fewer people are there to make up the working population in about 10 years. Madam Speaker, I took the time to share these, Deputy Speaker, these critical basic statistics with the sole purpose. While our lives have improved and we have lived longer, and we have lower death rates, we aren't replacing the working population fast enough to support our diversifying economy. The ministry is aware that understanding the dynamics of our population is the first step towards forward planning for development and powering progress. And we continue to do our part. And as a matter of fact, in the coming year, we will be conducting community consultations with the support of the workers in the Department of Constituency Empowerment. And in these sessions, we welcome your suggestions on how we can dive into economic transformation, improve service delivery in the rural areas with an uptick in residential occupancy in rural areas, and grow our population. Land, Madam Deputy Speaker, is quite literally the root of our nation's development. However, we are faced with a challenge of it being an equally infinite resource, and the demand for land increases. We are required in the ministry to ensure that our distribution and management practices are sustainable and can work to meet the development needs while still preserving the integrity and visibility of natural resources. I'm immensely pleased today that our ministry can report on our successes, measured and people-centered. So I will not dwell on the past and the indiscriminate animal farm that was the land distribution program. The department has made inclusive land ownership a central priority, and we have been working to ensure equal access to affordable land, so it's a reality for all Kittitians and divisions. Stakeholder engagement, adhering to new guidelines, cohesive and effective planning for eco-friendly, environmentally conscious practices for development. To this end, we have undertaken upscale land allocation through strategic land sales, reallocation, distribution of new areas of residential land, and encouraging vertical communities and a shift to rural living. We have been working actively to review the 2,000 land applications received in this period. However, I said it, land is a finite right. It doesn't replenish. We are 68 square miles. We don't get any more land. And we only have so much land designated for residential construction, because land has to be used for agriculture, for institutions, for commercial spaces. Understandably, as a result, it is unlikely that in the near future that every applicant can receive a land letter in their hand. And that is why it is our ministry's intention to transition to vertical communities. Navigating this process in a realistic way that is sensitive to the needs and solutions of aspiring landowners, it's not going to be an easy feat, because land is dear to all Kittitians and divisions. However, I am still so happy and so pleased to report that our pilot Young Professionals program has already distributed 100 land letters to landowners. This program was originally envisioned to link our middle class population to a fast-track option for land access and home construction with an equal commitment from mortgage facilities, from banking institutions with mortgage facilities. What was seen as a pilot test program is now one of our most successful programs, and we will continue in 2025. Madam Speaker, regardless of the reckless abuses of power under former leaders and managers of the land distribution process, our ministry was still able to deliver, out of the 2,000 applications, 500 new price and land letters. People could wave their land letters in the air. 500. And soon they're going to be waving the house keys, because that's what we're doing. The land title. AG, the land title. Good. However, Madam Deputy Speaker, I reiterate the capacity constraints of our land resources. St. Kitts and Nevis, in our transition to a sustainable island state, must shift from traditional building practices into methods that can be sustained and enhanced over time. So we implore you to embrace rural living and vertical communities. Come to the country. We have to build upward instead of outward. Maximize space efficiently, reduce urban sprawl, and shift our focus to the rural communities like breezy Newton Ground, really relaxing St. Paul's, straight over to all the country villages. It's a 30-minute drive to the furthest point. I do it twice a day to decompress, to relax, to sing by myself because I cannot sing publicly. The 30-minute drive. And we appreciate that a move to rural living requires that our government provides drivable roads. Thank you, Minister of Utilities. We have it. Be very careful. Reliable infrastructure, utilities, and telecoms. Right? And we understand that no one wants to be in a community that doesn't have a corner shop, an ATM, or a supermarket. And that's why we're working with our partners to encourage decentralized development in the rural areas. Gone are the days of neglecting non-urban regions, country. Those days done. Even the tourism sector is enjoying a deeper and more authentic connection to our lives in the rural. So join Dr. Douglas and I in Constituency 6. Apply for land in the rural. It's cheaper. You can get bigger pieces, Brotherson Estate, etc. Come to the country. And lest you forget, some administrations may never surface above the unscrupulous thinking of the past and very consequential policy actions, which left a whole section of our population underserved in the 80s and early 90s and in the dark 7 years of self-aggrandizing leadership. But those days will never again be with us. We are about inclusivity, access, and empowerment. We welcome your partnership, especially those of the local businesses and entrepreneurs, to make use of commercial and industrial zones located in the rural areas. If you didn't know, we have the same amount of commercial and industrial zones in the countryside that are here in Bastia. Develop and grow rural communities. Visionary leaders have taken tough decisions around land. We have it in Papa Bradshaw with nationalization in the 70s, Dr. Douglas with the Peace of the Rock campaign, and now our latest generation of visionary leadership, Dr. Drew, is advancing our squatter regularization project. Land for everyone. The Prime Minister has so selflessly allowed us to make a few announcements, so I start. Research makes it very, very clear that landlessness and impoverishment go hand in hand. Escaping the grips of poverty requires the ability to access some asset, in particular land. And so in this case, if your family has occupied land without title for generations, we have provided the solution through this visionary leader. Through the technical expertise of the Department of Lands and Surveys, drone mapping technology in particular, the ministry was able to successfully complete survey adjustments for Lagreet North, Upper Monkey Hill, the Pasture Saddlers, and Amsterdam St. Paul's. Started in Lagreet, and that is your point to do. Yes. of course. And as we are not. And as yes. And as such, Madam Deputy Speaker, it really pleases me to inform this Honorable House and all the persons who are listening that the Cabinet of St. Kitts the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, this cabinet, has approved the distribution of land at no cost, save for taxes, but land at no cost to the residents of Lagreet North, Upper Monkey Hill, Amsterdam, and the pasture saddlers. Big up to all the new landowners. Generations, over 100 years in particular in Upper Monkey Hill. And we anticipate that this project will benefit and empower 78 families in Lagreet, 25 families in Amsterdam, St. Paul's, 120 families in Upper Monkey Hill, 15 families in Saddlers. A total of 238 families will benefit. Visionary leadership. Thank you, Dr. Drew. Thank you to the cabinet. But let me be very clear. We will not be offering this particular service anywhere else. We will not tolerate any more illegal settlements. Further, we are aware of growing illegal settlements in the guts in Keon and in Lodge, and we have already started the necessary conversations and mapping. A responsible government cannot allow communities to develop in guts. It's hazardous, it's dangerous, it's life-threatening. Don't go and illegally occupy any more lands and think that we're about to repeat this process. St. Kitts and Nevis has a unique privilege that we do not have as extreme an experience of illegal settlements as some of our Eastern Caribbean and Windward Island neighbors. And we do not want this to be a trend. But for these families, we had to, and we did. A promise made and kept. Madam Speaker, these are the processes in terms of how we create generational prosperity through land ownership. This is how inclusivity and empowerment works, by ensuring that everyone, even those who may have been traditionally excluded from processes beyond their control, now have access to land. Again, no additional areas will be approved. All illegal settlements will be transitioned. Madam Speaker, our transition to a sustainable island state calls for intense amounts of groundwork, and the Department of Physical Planning is making this requirement a reality. And I won't get too technical except to say the mapping services and digital technology that we are implementing in St. Kitts and in Nevis will allow us to transfer and translate all of our maps into this. It's a resource management tool, which means more compliance amongst professionals. It's easier to resolve boundary disputes, manage land degradation, update titling and cadastral services, monitor the scale of erosion affecting our beaches and coastlines, and ensure the utility of local government management. It improves our national disaster management preparedness. It helps us to ensure that infrastructural development and land distribution practices remain in line with sustainability. We invest in systems to provide you better services. Every Thursday, our offices at the Ministry of Sustainable Development have been open to the public. What was designed as a 3-month program extended to a full year, and it seems 2 more years. But I must use this opportunity to thank the general public for trusting our process. Slow, yes, but with an intention to be accurate, to correct wrongs and ensure that you could have your lands. I am very pleased to announce also that the Department of Physical Planning has received approval by the Cabinet for the new National Physical Development Planning Framework, which we call Vision 2040. And this is about the physical use of our land space. It builds upon the work of the 2023 Urban Resilience Plan for Greater Bastille. This agenda helps us move towards a sustainable island state, helps us to have a strategic framework and a reference point for sustainable growth and urban planning across the nation. We recognize immediately with this new development plan that we must rethink the great state of St. Peter's and its unprecedented household growth. You know, they say some people like to live wherever the leader is. So I think a lot of people moving up to Dr. Drew, but that is why St. Peter's is growing so exponentially. But we further recognize also that there is a need for regeneration of the community of Keon as our third urban center. So planning is going to be critical for powering this progress. And we have already received the Prime Minister's commitment that Keon will be established as a third town. Now, we can't do this alone as government. As we move services into rural areas, as we create new suburban development and a third town, which is necessary, we need some services. A supermarket. We need a bank, and we need an upgraded medical center. Investors are welcome to join our transition of the community of Keon into the town of Keon. Additionally, we recognize that the feasibility of the great state of St. Peter's as our suburban area and Keon requires easeless traffic. And so a department will be using 2025 to assess the feasibility of establishing the proposed alternative transport bypass routes to Keon and to Whitegate. Tourism hubs in Whitegate, community and urban development in Keon. It needs transport, it needs utilities, and it needs services. In this coming year, the Physical Planning Department will continue to be guided by principles of sustainable land management, working with communities, and developing our local area development plans. And yes, development does not come without challenges. And that's why Reggae Beach is and has been a priority for the ministry for the past 6 months. Now, nothing that's done great can be done quickly. And we do envy and aspire to have a similar situation as is established in Nevis. However, as member for Nevis 10 and 11 mentioned, we do have to bear in mind land ownership, land acquisition processes, ensure that it's not just an action for Reggae Beach and the pier facility, but a holistic approach to management of the Southeast Peninsula. Our ministries have already done feasibility studies and received reports from respective ministries on how we progress. And I am glad to report that in 2025, we will aggressively pursue all the policies, legislation, land acquisition, and changes required to ensure we have something that's equally fitting of our sister island. We established an SDG monitoring unit in the Department of Physical, Public Sector and Investment Planning. And we are happy that every ministry has presented a budget that connects with our SDGs. We are working very closely with our UN volunteer to ensure that our SDG agenda aligns with our vision to become a sustainable island state. Our vision of lasting sustainable development is premised on environmental stewardship as I transitioned to the Ministry of Environment. This year, we amplified our mandate to protect, conserve, and preserve these ecosystems, to build resilience against climate change, and to protect the people of St. Kitts and Nevis in the process. We updated our National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan. We are working with 23 new biodiversity targets. Now remember, I started my presentation by outlining how many visitors come to St. Kitts and Nevis to bird watch, to scuba dive, to walk our mountains. Biodiversity is at the heart of economic development in the Ministry of Tourism. We must protect it. Central to our development strategy is protected areas. And in 2025, we intend to place significant focus on the Royal Bastille Valley National Park. It has been approved as a capital project, and with this very small capital outlook, it allows us to do the necessary community engagement and consultations to transform the Royal Bastille Valley. We are hoping to see walking trails. We're hoping to see biking trails, enhanced landscaping, all protecting the valuable resource right there, the aquifer. Simultaneously, we are intensifying efforts to declare St. Kitts and Nevis a marine managed area to promote sustainable fisheries and protect underwater ecosystems. Partnership is also being forged, and listen carefully, to designate Nevis Peak, Camps River watershed, a vital resource for water security and biodiversity conservation as protected areas. So we welcome the Nevis Island Cabinet to make that next step, to declare Nevis Peak a protected area. It is only fitting of one of the most beautiful mountainscapes in the region. The ministry will also be working with the UNESCO. But I live over here and we have Mount Lyomega. We are collectively the best. Which one?
Honorable Member, Honorable Senator, please continue.
Maybe they have to interrupt me now so that I know they're listening.
Honorable Senator, your time is going.
I know.
So let's continue, please.
It's time.
And let's limit the interruption.
You got to pause when they interrupt me. Single-use plastic bans. A key part of our efforts to reduce pollution and protect our ecosystem has been the advancement of the phased implementation of the single-use plastic ban that was announced in March 2024. This move supports global efforts towards aligning our Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework by addressing pollution as a major driver of biodiversity loss. So we announced that phase 1, we had the prohibition of plastic shopping bags and a ban on their distribution. So December 31st, no more importation. March 31, no more distribution. In July 2025, phase 2 will be no more use of styrofoam food containers. And the ban on plastic plates and cups, bowls, and utensils will be effective November 2025. So, second announcement. Recognizing that this effort requires mindfulness and intention, as these changes will affect business operations and livelihoods of so many stakeholders, from trade, for so many stakeholders and entities, the ministry assembled an interagency ad hoc committee that includes stakeholders from trade, tourism, and other environmental sectors to oversee and guide implementation. We did this collaboratively. And this group developed standards and sourced sustainable alternatives to banned products. The feedback gathered indicates widespread stakeholder readiness, with many businesses depleting their current plastic stocks in preparation for the full implementation of the ban. Acknowledging the potential for small businesses and consumers during this transition, We pledge to pair the ban with suitable tax concessions to support the adoption of sustainable alternatives. To fulfill this pledge and help keep money in your pocket, we will implement a temporary waiver of the CET customs duty on approved environmentally friendly substitutes for single-use plastics. This waiver is effective January 1, 2025 through to December 31, 2027. 2027. So, January 1, 2025 through to December 31, 2027, there will be no customs duty charged on environmentally friendly substitutes for single-use plastics. So to make it very clear, if your chicken and chips go up, you remind the shopkeeper that the price shouldn't change because the new cardboard box that they're serving the food in is duty-free. Okay? Be informed as a consumer and don't let anybody who accepts payment for slander to fool you. Don't let nobody fool you. The duty-free means the price of the packaged goods should not change. Madam Deputy Speaker, 2024 was a transformative year for Solid Waste Management Corporation. Not only has the corporation, in partnership with the Republic of China and Taiwan, been able to support a recycling program here in St. Kitts and Nevis, but it has been dubbed as the jumpstart for a Caribbean-wide recycling program. And that's excellent news, so kudos to the team. We know that 2025 will usher in a new era for SWMC. The Connery landfill is the final resting place for our waste here in St. Kitts, similar for Nevis, their own landfill, rather. The landfill has served our island for countless years, but it is nearing the end of its capacity. Our partnership with the Government of Canada through the Canada CARICOM Expert Deployment Mechanism has borne really good results. And as part of this mechanism, we have recently conducted a comprehensive assessment of the landfill on both St. Kitts and Nevis with a view to improving their sustainability. We are moving towards waste management and waste to energy. The assessment is geared to addressing key challenges, optimizing landfill operations, mitigating environmental risk, and identifying long-term waste management solutions. Madam Deputy Speaker, a critical reality that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis must especially understand. When Connery landfill reaches the point of closure, there will be no new landfill constructed in its place on our island. This underscores the need to reduce the volume of waste being sent to the landfill and highlights how a transition to modern, sustainable, circular waste management systems can assist with extending the landfill's lifespan. Our efforts at SWMC require the full partnership of the Federation. We don't transition to a sustainable island state in mere hopes and wishes. We must do practical, tangible things like adjusting our waste production. Waste management is a critical service that benefits every single resident and community in St. Kitts and Nevis. Clean streets, efficient garbage collection, proper waste disposal are essential to public health. Clean streets, more tourists, more money. The SWMC has been able in the past few years to we've pulled ourselves out of a dire financial situation through prudent fiscal management, improved operational efficiencies, and careful planning. However, While this progress is truly commendable, the fact remains that waste management is expensive, and this endeavor has rising cost, which continues to stress the corporation and the government. Madam Speaker, many of our regional brothers and sisters have introduced systems where communities contribute equitably to the cost of waste management. This model not only ensures financial sustainability, it benefits the people. So if we had a similar system such as Nevis, I think in Nevis, you pay $20 for waste disposal per month. In St. Kitts, you pay zero, nothing. It allows us to continue the distribution of household bins without depending on government subventions, and introduce new services such as the collection of bulky waste items and appliances. This is the future of waste management. It's not happening now, but embrace it as the inevitable future that we must face. Waste is our responsibility, and waste is not free. I am so proud to speak of our legislative agenda, and it allows me an opportunity to thank our Attorney General for his leadership of the national legislative agenda. I think he deserves a second praise for that. And with the work that we've done, we have critical legislation to allow enforceable structures to uphold the efforts that we're putting into motion. So we amplified and we created the Sustainable Island State Agenda, but it needs legislation. And so the Parks and Beaches Unit, Solid Waste Constituency Empowerment, the Ministry of Sustainable Development, were the co-sponsors of the Community Beautification and Safety Act 2024. And with this act, we are going to deal with the abandoned properties. One key thing I must mention on behalf of the ministry: the government needs the support of small businesses for the abatement process. This simply means an abatement service provider is a company or person with a valid business license that operates a small business or a micro business or a small scale business and can engage the abatement services for the government. Go set up your small businesses so that you can help us identify the abandoned lots, the derelict vehicles, the overgrown properties, so that we can clean them and keep St. Kitts beautiful and clean. Government has provided an excellent opportunity, a new entrepreneurship avenue in waste management. Take advantage of it. We look forward to 2025 to have the second and third reading of our National Conservation and Environment Management Bill, our Plastic Prohibition Act, our SWMC amendments, and of course the Architects Registration Board and the creation of the Architects Registration Board. Madam Speaker, Independence Square, as we all know, stands as one of the most significant historical spaces for our people. A site where once enslaved Africans were sold. Today, it symbolizes resilience of our ancestors and exemplifies our triumphs over oppression and our journey to independence. It is not simply a public space. It is a national treasure, a resource for collective remembrance. This is why it displeases me and deeply unsettles me that this same Independence Square has been subject to littering and misuse and abuse. It's terrible. It's disheartening. People continue to irresponsibly dispose of trash. And it's not random people. It's the small businesses and some of the big businesses around the Independence Square. Madam Speaker, Solid Waste carried out several midnight sting operations. And you would be so ashamed, Deputy Speaker, if I recount the number of persons walking over with their garbage from their small businesses to rest in the square. How is this square a place to dump your garbage? How is it? How is it the place to take garbage from your business to rest down? For who to take up? The same loaders and garbage collectors and parks and beaches people who we look down on. It is not fair. And that's why SWMC will amend this legislation. And my advice is that it moves from $500 for illegal littering to $5,000. Where are you going with 15? $5,000. And that is why we will amend the legislation so we don't spend 6 months in court. You illegally dump, you pay and you move on. Be responsible. I want to make a direct public appeal to the perpetrators. Stop taking your garbage to the square. If I could speak Spanish, I would say it in Spanish, but I could talk dialect. No, carry your garbage down there. Don't do it. It is wrong. But importantly, we established an independent square task force with Ministry of Environment, the Ministry of Tourism, Parks and Beaches Unit, Urban Development Corporation. And we are going to collectively address this issue by talking to our business community, inviting you to our first series of consultations, discussing whether or not we need a new arrangement for commercial disposal in and around urban Bastille. Public campaigns led by the Ministry of Tourism, because these are national treasures. Visitors are in the square right now taking pictures. You really mean to tell me they're going to have to take picture in front of dirty garbage? It does not make sense. It does not correlate. You can't expect people to buy a cruise ticket or a plane ticket and come to St. Kitts to enjoy garbage. It doesn't make sense. Your livelihoods depend on a clean environment. So please, I beg you, stop carrying your garbage to the Independence Square. And to ensure it works, we're going to make the management of the square more holistic, more comprehensive, with tourism at the fore. Our Parks and Beaches unit will transition to managers in the square. And they're going to have on their good t-shirt, and they're going to have their books to give you the fines. And there will be official litter wardens, because we will protect our heritage sites. It is important that I use this moment, Madam Deputy Speaker, to speak about our Vulnerable Households Repairs Assistance Program. This program was born out of the need to expand the services of the Sanitation Assistance Program, the transition of pit latrines. We recognized through data collection from constituency empowerment that there were some people living in homes that had evidence of numerous battering from storms. And we know that we recognize the cyclical nature of storms and other threats which have caused serious damage to some homes. We acknowledge that roof repairs and window replacements and floor replacements are particularly expensive for some families. We note also that the elderly and some rural homes need more support to fix these repairs. So we welcome the opportunity to partner with Human Settlement, NHC, and the Ministry of Finance to pilot this program. I am happy to announce that the Cabinet has approved an additional $2 million to support this program. We are coming to the homes of the most vulnerable, of the elderly, of persons living with disabilities, to help you with your repairs under the umbrella of climate adaptation. I believe we should thank the Ministry of Finance, NHC, and Human Settlement and Constituency Empowerment for their work in this program so far and their commitment for 2025. So please join me in thanking them. So committed are we to the transformation of homes and climate resilience that we have presented under the leadership of the Ministry of the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Environment to present this project to potential funding partners to ensure that we get more free money, grant money, to provide home repairs to our vulnerable. This brings me, Madam Deputy Speaker, to partnerships and global connections. As I said, we must always be responsible and don't allow people who are paid for slander to fool you, to misconstrue, and to turn the work of our ministry into what it is not. All the work and progress that I'm detailing can only be propelled through sustained, lasting, meaningful partnerships and continued collaboration with the regional and international community. Madam Speaker, the Green Climate Fund has provided significant support to St. Kitts and Nevis. The public, I need you to pay attention. We have made impactful work because of the support of GCF. Since its inception, the GCF has approved over $16 million in climate mitigation projects for St. Kitts and Nevis, particularly to support the geothermal drilling campaign in Nevis through the Sustainable Energy Facility for the Eastern Caribbean. In addition, USD 5.3 million in readiness financing has been provided. Readiness financing allows us to deal with the capacity of our national institutions to address climate change. We have prepared local financial institutions such as the St. Kitts Credit Union and the Development Bank to become accredited institutions to the GCF, prepared restructuring plans and provided equipment for the Met Office and the disaster management agencies, worked with the private sector, including small businesses, undertaken climate vulnerability assessments in tourism, agriculture, and health sectors, established digital climate data repository, established the urban resilience plan for Bastille, financed the formulation of the National Development Planning Framework, conducted a study on the transmission and distribution of electricity systems and the electric vehicle integration in St. Kitts and Nevis, and updated frameworks to establish the National Sustainable Development Committee and the National Climate Change Committee. Money from outside, money from international partners to transition home. This year, we formulated a US $3 million national adaptation plan, which should kick off in the first quarter of 2025. It's enabling us to address issues including institutional reform and legislative review. I want to recognize the work of the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, 5Cs, which has been an invaluable partner in programming and project development for these funds. Additionally, the Global Environmental Facility continues to be a valuable partner in supporting our climate mitigation and adaptation efforts. With the GEF6 project, we had the Improving Energy Management through Sustainable Land Management, GEF7, the rapid decarbonization of the energy sector in St. Kitts and Nevis, and with GEF8, the Clean and Healthy Oceans Integrated Program. Madam Deputy Speaker, you must realize that with these international partners, our ministry has been the central point for accessing grant aid, free money, external money to develop oceans, energy, and land. You must participate to access. You must participate to lobby, to advocate, to access. I want to also place on record thanks to the government of India, which came on board as a serious partner to support small businesses and sustainable development. Through the High Commission in Guyana, the government of India offered a machinery equipment grant of up to $1 million per country, and we received ours. In addition, the government of India has offered grant funding to 5 quick impact projects valued of up to $50,000 US per project. Grant, free money. Grant means free. The Ministry of Sustainable Development has been in serious collaboration with the Ministry of Small Businesses and Entrepreneurship. Thank you for your partnership, Minister Duggins, member for number 4. And so I'm very pleased again to report that as of December 2024, the government of India has shortlisted small businesses right here in our federation that will receive the equipment grant. And the Ministry of Sustainable and Small Businesses and Entrepreneurship are working to ensure that in the first quarter of 2025, these small business owners can walk out with their free money to purchase equipment for their businesses. Thank you to both ministries. Madam Deputy Speaker, we continue the collaboration. And so it is in this vein that we thank the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Minister, Senior Minister and Foreign Minister, member for number 6, Dr. Denzel Douglas, who have been pivotal to the advancement of our mission for sustainability and multilateral partnership. I want to thank our permanent missions, embassies, high commissions, and consulates who continue at every turn to make useful connections where possible. From our participation in the 4th International Conference on Small Island Developing States, our presence at all of the COPs, to this year's achievement would not be possible without the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So I thank them. As it relates to the Republic of China and Taiwan, our greatest friend and partner, we cannot speak of partnership without, of course, acknowledging their unwavering support and their guidance. Ambassador Lin in particular, and by extension the government of Taiwan and the Taiwan ICDF, thank you for your consistent willingness and readiness to assist. I look forward to the magic that we're going to create with our continued collaboration in phase 2 of our recycling program, which will be launched in January. St. Kitts and Nevis was represented regionally, nationally, and internationally. And with all these representations by all the technical staff in our ministries, we have more MOUs, we have agreements to allow for advanced cooperation. In particular, we signed an MOU with the United Nations Office for Project Services via the Global Center for Climate Mobility, promoted our Sustainable Island State agenda, secured crucial finance for disaster resilience, accessed critical development aid, and empowered our youth leaders and young professionals. This year, we leaned into regionalism and cemented our relationship with 5Cs with the ratification of the agreement establishing the center, more money, more access. We continue with our major projects, which I am so happy to report, but the Minister of Energy will do the details in terms of updating on our progress with the $41 million Transwater project. And finally, I can say to the Minister of Agriculture that the St. Kitts and Nevis Climate Smart Agricultural Project, which has been endorsed now by GCF for US $21 million, has only 18 months to go.
Apologies, Senator, you have half hour remaining.
Yes, thank you so much. Sorry? More greenhouses. Importantly, in COP29, at COP29 rather, it was announced that our federation was approved for US 500,000 grant, free money, under the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, spearheaded by the government of India. More money. The grant will support the Ministry of Public Infrastructure and the Department of GIS, Geographic Information Systems, to map and evaluate the current state and of critical infrastructure to identify vulnerabilities and assess their resilience against natural hazards. More money, more participation, more resilience locally. The Building Resilience through National Adaptation Plan, as was mentioned before, is another US $3 million starting first quarter 2025. Madam Speaker, Deputy Speaker, it is pellucid that environmental sustainability touches the work of so many of our line ministries. These partnerships rather, that we are crafting internationally and regionally are the vehicles that will take us from ambition to reality. Becoming a sustainable island state requires money, and we go out to get the money to do just what we envision. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis is bringing the world to our shores to discuss climate, environment, and sustainability. I am very pleased to announce, I think this is like the 6th announcement. It's been a great year for the ministries.
Proud of you, proud of you.
Of all of them, that we have secured 3 major hosting opportunities for 2025. Our country emerged at the top of a very, very short list to host 3 significant conferences, exemplifying our potential as we continue to position the Federation as a regional leader in conference tourism. The Minister will explain more about conference tourism, but we are doing our part. First event, the Green Climate Fund Regional Dialogue, March 17 to 21. Over 200 delegates to discuss challenges facing Caribbean nations as they grapple with the effect of climate change, barriers to effective response, and opportunities to increase collaboration with access to more fund. Second event, the 3rd Forum on Environmental Human Rights Defenders will be held in April 7th to 10th. Over 150 delegates to discuss the Escazú Environmental Agreement. And we will proudly host the 3rd edition of the Global Sustainable Island Summit, May 26 to 29. St. Kitts and Nevis will welcome over 300 international delegates from island nations in the Pacific, in Africa, EU, and in the Caribbean. And we will be hosting on St. Kitts and on Nevis. Wait, no applause for that? So, we're going to see world leaders, dignitaries, visionaries, policymakers, local entrepreneurs, youth representatives, private sector industry professionals who are passionate about collaborating, about creating more sustainable opportunities, about innovation, and about partnership. This is a strategic opportunity for our government for both islands. Of course, I wind down. A total of US $113,557,654.32. Let me call the money there again. Let me say it again. It's Lord of falling down. The money so big a tripping. A total of US $113,557,654.32 has been committed to our Federation for projects in resilience in the fisheries sector, building the blue-green economy, biodiversity protection, land management, mapping, and protecting our central forest reserve. We continue to lobby for international access to more climate finance. We cannot stay here in our Twin Island Federation and expect nobody to send no money come. We have to go get it. So don't let nobody who is paid to slander the work of the Ministry of Environment, Sustainable Development, Climate Action, Constituency Empowerment, Parks and Beaches, and Solid Waste Management. We don't work and we don't bring in the money. And we have. And led by the PSs, PS Shalita Dor Tyson, PS Colencia Levine, and all the directors, workers, every single body broke down their back this year to bring in $113,557,654.32 so that we can transform St. Kitts and Nevis, and they deserve a round of applause.
Now I see why how much you say again?
One load of money.
Currency?
US.
113 million US?
Yes.
Okay, honorable members, continue.
It's sweet in another.
I understand. You can repeat the number if you want to.
Okay.
But I want you to continue.
So, it has been an intense year. I'm going to repeat it. And we have filled the past 12 months with concrete, substantive work. And we recognize that, guess what? This 113 million, it is just the beginning. Because we are ready to go. We are ready to lobby, to argue, to advocate. And when we went for the past 2 years, and this year in particular, and they listened to us speak, they realized we now make no joke in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so they are coming to us to talk, to discuss. They are listening to us. And when you hear people say, St. Kitts and Nevis is a leading voice in, it ain't come from going out there and skylarking. It was a lot of work. Almost 50 speeches, interventions, written by the technical staff in these ministries, the research. The work was endless. They do not know weekends. They don't know late night, because I don't even know those times. And they have worked. And when I can't go, they have been going and representing the government and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so I defend them right now. And I say to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, don't make people who are paid to slander the ministry confuse you and discombobulate your mind and make you think that we're going to skylark money. Some of them nearly get all this money to put nonsense on the internet about the work that we are doing. But after a year of not responding to you, this was an adequate response, was it not? 113,557,654.32 for US dollars for St. Kitts and Nevis. I don't know, a load of money.
308 million EC dollars.
That's Nevis budget.
Wow. That is over wow.
It does, a pausing.
What the others used to come back with?
I don't know. But nobody talk about the ministry. Take all your mouths and all your fingers.
Honorable members, I know we are celebrating and that is okay, but I need the Honorable Senator to continue your presentation.
We are working. No, I want to go 90 minutes exact, so long in it out. So I must end with my thank yous. The work of the ministry would not be possible without the assistance and support of our partners. And so we extend thanks. Now, I'm calling some names, but there are hundreds of names. but I have to call some which are tied to some of the bigger projects that we are executing this year and next year. So thanks, and this is in no order of priority, to the Chamber of Industry and Commerce for its support on our plastic ban, the St. Kitts Nevis Institute of Architects for its collaboration and work on our Architects Registration Act, Mr. Cosbert Woods, the UN Resident Coordinator, for the continued work and support of our CISA agenda, Mr. Kevin Hope, our UN volunteer, who is merging CISA, SDGs, and NDPF with Mr. Woods, Professor Donovan Campbell of the University of the West Indies for steering us right with our Sustainable Island State agenda, UNESCO MAB for its continued work and for its attention to details in the Keon area. Special thanks to Her Excellency Mutrice William as she had this new role and allowed us to lean on the resources of our mission in the US. Very special thanks to Mr. Ryan Phillip of the 5 Cs for liaising and continuing the work of writing and developing our projects so that we can access monies. And as I turn our final page, most important page, thank you to Permanent Secretaries Dorr and P.S. Levine for leading the ministries. I pause for an applause. These 2 women have been pioneering the transformation and the concretization of the Ministries of Sustainable and Development as sister partner ministries. A seriously impressive transformation over the past 2 years. Thanks to our senior leaders, Mr. Gums, who has come to bridge the work of both ministries. Many thanks to our transformative people first, do it with them leader of the Solid Waste Management Corporation, Mr. Nelvin Maynard. You will see him collecting your garbage. He does it. Many thanks to him. Many thanks to our directors, and I'm going to name all of them because all of them bring in the money. 11, Phipps, Body, Manners, Jeffers, make sure I don't leave out nobody, Francis, Faria, Tucker, Edmead, Jeffers, Salters, Daniel. Did I leave anybody out? Very good. Many thanks to the 300 plus workers, from the volunteers, from the interns who work with us this year, the staff at the landfill. Every single where you see a clean road, it is us, and where you see a dirty road, tell us and we're going to fix it. Thanks to our partners for our National Community Cleanse. We are going to roll out this weekend, hopefully. Thanks so much to the ministry for the work. Thanks to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis for continuing pushing environment. We know that environment and sustainable development and waste management ain't sexy. But under our leadership, we turn it up. It is working. We promised better with a Labour administration, and ain't nobody could tell me that this team did not do better. Thank you in particular to the staff at the Secretariat. That's the office where I reside. They have a boss, and I know they do the silent screams, and they wonder about the minister. They wonder when I sleep and if I don't leave them alone. But they have stayed committed for the past 2 years and 4 months to a transformative agenda. I want the cameraman to zoom on my staff, please, very much, because they are the reason why I could stand here for a full 90 minutes and impress upon the people of St. Kitts and Nevis that our work has generated. I want the easy amount now, Attorney General. Our collaborative work has generated the equivalent of the Nevis Island Administration budget for 2025, the equivalent almost of social intervention programs here in St. Kitts and Nevis, $308 million of financial commitments for St. Kitts and Nevis to transition to a sustainable island state. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Senator Clark. Honorable members, I would rise for an hour for lunch. So we will return around 3:15, okay?
Okay, so it looks as though we just had an adjournment. So, okay, so we will continue our regularly scheduled programming.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Pay a bill this Christmas and Skelec will give to you $5,000.